Hi there, lovely to talk to all of you in the WEYO. I spoke to most of you, if not all of you, a few months ago, and it was great that I was able to see the projects you'd done, the video game music that you'd all recorded at home after a day. I was quite amazed. So congratulations for that. Now we've got a new piece, Dancing Folk by Jeff Moore. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about possibly how you would want to prepare the piece, and also a bit about recording it yourself at home, because obviously this has been the kind of thing we've all had to start doing, and it's not always that easy to get to grips with the technology, and I do understand that because that's something I've also had to do quite a lot myself, and sometimes it's a bit of trial and error. So I'm going to try and give you a few tips. So anyway, I'm looking at actually the professional violin part, but I just want to give you a little bit of, an idea of what you should be looking for, because obviously you could be looking at a flute part, a trumpet part. So I'm just going to say the first thing you need to do is, obviously, best thing I would do is print your music. And because you're just going to be recording this at home on your own, have a look to see where the best place is that you're going to either make a page turn or fiddle them with the music so that it can be sort of in one go. So for this part, there's a nice 6-bar rest at the bottom of the second page. So you know that you can turn, because having 4 sheets in a row doesn't usually work that well on a music stand. So just find somewhere that you know you can kind of make that quick turn. Also, what I like to do when I first get a piece of music I don't know is just have a quick scan through, see what the difficulties might be. So, for this professional violin part, I'm looking at bar 27. So I can see already that there's a little sort of run up there, and I wouldn't want to sort of burst in early. So I've marked some little kind of stems to denote the beats. So, because the first time you read through, you might not clock that was immediately right on beat 4. So that way I've got a little visual clue to tell myself that run up should start on an up bow and it's on beat 4, not earlier. So also I would say bar 40, because when you're sort of reading this, and this is quite fast, isn't it? It's crotchet equals 144, so that's quite that's going at quite a lick. So at bar 40, for example, in this part, looks simple, but that's just reminding me that they're off beats. The quavers are not on the beat, they're off. So I personally find it really useful sometimes to mark in beats like that. Obviously, you're on your own, so this music is for yourself. If you're sitting with someone one day back in the orchestra, it's sometimes nice to say to your desk partner, do you mind if I just mark it in for myself? So just to be polite. And then I note to myself also at F, there's a change of key, and then it changes back again at I. Also, just be aware in your part that there's things like in this part at I, there's a whole load of semiquavers. Chances are that is not the main thing that's happening. So just stay out of the way. You don't need to sort of chug along at any kind of great dynamic for bars and bars. So kind of, you get an essence, even having not heard the piece first, when you first look at it, you'll get an idea of like, oh, that's something I need to bring out. So at P, this is obviously going to be a main tune for whoever's playing these first violin parts. And at other points you'll think, okay, this is just something that is probably somewhat sort of background. So that's the first thing one needs to do, because I think really good to just get an overview of what you're looking at. You can think, well, that might be tricky, and I might get the rhythm wrong there. So just make little markings. That would really help. On to your equipment. So you will also be sent a kind of click track. Now, obviously, when I'm in the recording studio and they set that up for you nicely, and we have these huge headsets and it only has one side. So maybe at home you either have something like this. Maybe it came with your phone, and that's pretty easy. I would only, I would only use it if as a violinist. I would put the earbud in my right, and I would leave the left free because I really want to be able to hear the sound that I'm making. So I think that's, you can either just let that dangle down or just tuck it away somewhere. But if you prefer to use kind of, it's a bit more trendy, I suppose, these days, a kind of over the headset like this. So what I really wouldn't do is just have it straight over like this, because then you're really cutting out your own sound. So like before, I would keep them, nicely on one side so that you're really getting a good click like this. But I would then leave that ear free so that you can really hear what you're actually doing yourself. Now, find a good place to record. Now, I know it's going to be difficult because you're probably sharing a space with parents, siblings. Find a place that isn't too boomy, because obviously your sound is all going to be mixed together, and if someone's sort of space is very resonant, it's not going to mix that well. So try and find, maybe it's your living room, get your parents out of there for half an hour while you record. You want a place that has obviously a natural kind of resonance. So you don't want a place that if you go like that, just like booms out, but neither do you really want a place that has got like heavy carpets, heavy curtains. Obviously you're going to have to work with what you've got, but I would suggest probably bathrooms are not a great choice because they tend to be a little bit echoey, with tiles and stuff. So just try and find a place where you get a really natural kind of acoustic, and a place you're not going to be disturbed and your kid brother's not going to run in screaming while you're recording. Set yourself enough time, and most of all, just enjoy it. And if it goes wrong, you get to go back and have another go. Also, listen really carefully to the click. It's there to guide you, especially in these times. Obviously, when I'm recording with the orchestra and we're all together in the room, we are really listening to this click going on in the ear, but we're still getting a sense of a corporate playing together. You're gonna struggle more because you will literally be on your own. So you need to stick to that click like a magnet. So it's actually easier because it's a fast piece. So you really just get into that rhythm, and there's no sort of change or anything. It's actually much easier to follow a click when it's fast rather than slow, which is why sometimes if it's a slow piece and they put it to click, they often break it down into, say, if it was crotchet equals 50, they'd often do a quaver click, because it's just so much easier to sort of follow this kind of a faster beat. But most of all, just have fun with it. Really, really enjoy the process and just have a great time. Good luck, and I'm really looking forward to hearing the results.